Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at noon.
Now at noon, changes come to the Orange Osceola State Attorney's Office now that there is a new prosecutor in charge. The first major policy change that he says will ensure community transparency.
First, though, getting results. Safety improvements come to a busy intersection less than 2 weeks after a woman and her 3 grandchildren were killed in a crash there. But first, breaking right now, the state has rested in the trial of Othel Wallace, the man accused of killing a Daytona Beach police officer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bridget Ellison.
And I'm Justin Mormith. Let's get right out to News 6's Molly Reed live in Clay County. And Molly, the defense is now presenting its case. Will Wallace take the stand?
Wallace is up right now, Justin. So we've been hearing for the last several days from the state's perspective, trying to show what Rayner was thinking or possibly doing at the time that he approached Wallace that night back in June of 2021. But now for the first time, we're hearing from Wallace and his perspective on why he did what he did that night. Now, so far, his defense has asked him what he was doing that night before Rayner approached him. He says he was sitting in his car, relaxing and smoking a cigar when Officer Rayner approached him that night. He said he noticed the lights and didn't see the police car approach him. He then says he saw the officer's flashlight and was surprised. Investigators say back in June of 2021, Rayner was looking for a stolen car, saw Wallace sitting in one with a similar description, and went to question him. They say the video shows Wallace not complying, and Rayner put a hand on his shoulder, and then Wallace shoots Rayner. The defense is arguing Wallace did this in self-defense.
And at that point, were you fearful at all?
I was most definitely fearful because I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't had answers to my questions, and I was just trying to see like what's going to happen here. I never ever in my life been in that situation, and that was kind of like one of my worst fears.
Now, I'm told back in the courthouse behind me up here in Clay County, Othel Wallace is now at the screen showing his perspective of Officer Rayner's body camera video. Again, over the last several days, they have played that video for the jury from the state, trying to show how Rayner was acting. And now Wallace is walking them through how he was acting at that time. Again, Wallace is the defense's first witness as far as their case. They've not said how many witnesses they will have, but he is their first. Again, the judge was hoping for closing arguments at the end of today, so the jury had to have all day tomorrow to deliberate. So we will give you the latest at 4 p.m. tonight on News 6 as far as what Othel says and who else may be appearing for the defense. In Clay County, I'm Molly Reed, getting results, News 6.
Thanks for that update, Molly. And now changes for a busy intersection less than 2 weeks after a woman and her 3 grandchildren were killed in a crash there.
News 6 has been following the call for safety improvements since we first broke the story last week when the family was killed Labor Day weekend at the intersection of Laurel Avenue and San Miguel Road in Point Siena. Neighbors told News 6 how the intersection is a problem. Now the county is taking action. Let's get out to News 6's Catherine Silver, who's been part of our team coverage on the community concern. She's live at that intersection now with more. Catherine?
Well, we certainly heard the community calling for change. The county heard those calls as well, and this is the result. You can see this new stop sign has officially been installed. The work started around 9 o'clock this morning, and this all happened pretty quickly. The county tells me they are assessing some nearby intersections to see if there is more that they can do. I'm live in Osceola County. Catherine Silver, getting results, News 6.
Thank you, Catherine. Taking a live look now over downtown Orlando from the Light Orlando camera. Really warming up out there as we watch that sea breeze action fire up once again today.
Yeah, that's right. Meteorologist Troy Bridges is watching those high seas and rip currents right now.
Yeah, all because of Hurricane Lee, still a Category 2 hurricane, about 800 miles off of our coast. It is definitely giving us some issues. In fact, we'll continue that through the early part of next week. In fact, right now we have a high surf advisory for every single beach in Central Florida. That means that surf will continue to pound the coast, and it could lead to some beach erosion before it's all said and done. Our main threats, though, in the coming days, including the weekend and the start of next week, will be that high rip current risk. So not a good idea to get in the water at all, not even if there are lifeguards around. Seas up close to 9 feet by Saturday Saturday, 10 feet farther offshore by Saturday. So we're going to be dealing with those high seas even through the first part of next week. Today, though, back inland, we're going to be dealing with the East Coast sea breeze, pushing those showers and storms inland with a 50% coverage. A high today of 92, which is 2 degrees above the average. Now, along the coast, as the East Coast sea breeze pushes in, rain chances a little lower at 20%. So the rain really pushing inland today. We'll show you future radar hour by hour straight ahead.
See you then. Thank you, Troy. The new top prosecutor at the Orange Osceola State Attorney's Office is making changes. Andrew Bain has been in charge for a month now, replacing Monique Worrell, who was removed by Governor DeSantis. Today, he gave an update on the progress he's been making. News 6's Mark Lehman has those details.
Thank you, Mark. Just in at noon, former President Donald Trump and 16 others will be tried separately from 2 defendants. A Georgia judge ruled today that Sidney Powell and Ken Chesbro can have a speedy trial, which has been set for next month. They are all accused of participating in an illegal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
The man accused of vandalizing 2 LGBTQ centers in Orlando could walk out of jail at any moment. We just checked, and Matthew Robinson is in the process of bonding out of the Orange County Jail. He was arrested yesterday after police say he spray painted hateful messages on top of murals at the Center Orlando and Zebra Youth on Mills Avenue late last month. Robinson is now facing 3 counts of criminal mischief. However, police say they're pressing for upgraded charges since there is evidence of prejudice.
The Powerball jackpot rolled over again. No one matched all the winning numbers in last night's $550 million drawing. So you may have won a smaller prize, though. Here's a look at those numbers: 22, 30, 37, 44, 45, Powerball 18, multiplier 3. Saturday night's top prize up to $596 million now. You can watch the drawing right here just before News 6 at 11.
Coming up, seeing and feeling the impacts of Hurricane Lee along our coast, even though it's hundreds of miles away in the Atlantic. You just heard Troy talking about the rip currents out there. But erosion is also a major concern for areas that really can't afford it. We'll take you to the coast to see what people are doing to protect already damaged areas.
And another major strike could be on the horizon. Coming up, what the United Auto Workers Union is demanding from the big 3 auto companies. You're watching News 6 at noon, getting results. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, who encourages you to play responsibly. Get the most out of News 6 with our Insider newsletter. Sign up to be an insider today at clickorlando.com/insider.
Sometimes our storms can pack a punch. I understand the risk an afternoon storm can have. That's why we have the largest weather team in Central Florida and the best equipment in the business. To make sure you're not surprised, because what could be a free car wash for you in Orlando could end up being a roof repair or a trip to the hospital in Brevard. So keeping you, your family, and your home safe. That's why I do this.
Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, and weather with meteorologist Troy Bridges. You're watching WKMG, getting results at noon.
Here's a live look again at our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia camera in Daytona Beach, and that's where there's another big warning. As nice as it looks, there's a big warning for beachgoers right now. The National Hurricane Center says high surf advisories are in place for Volusia and Brevard counties through tomorrow.
It comes as Hurricane Lee continues to roam in the Atlantic. News 6's Ezzy Castro is in Daytona Beach shores, where concerns continue about beach erosion. All right, Ezzy, thank you. Here is another live look from the coast. This one from the Launch Credit Union Port Cam at Port Canaveral. Well, you heard Troy in that piece right there. It's a tough stretch for these beaches.
It really is. You could see behind Ezzy just not even a lot of sand to set up on, Troy.
Yeah, the water keeps coming in closer and closer to that wall there, as we showed you that live view a moment ago in Daytona Beach. And it's hard to believe that because Lee is a Category 2 hurricane that's about 800 miles off of our coast. But it's been so big and so strong for so long. In fact, 4 days in a row, it was a major major Category 3 hurricane with winds up to about 115 miles per hour. Now it's downgraded to a Category 2. The winds are at 90 miles per hour, still about 700 to 800 miles away from our coast, but it will be moving north and continuing to move closer to New England, giving the folks there some issues. But for us, issues a big concern already, as we'll be dealing with that high surf up to about 10 feet just offshore. And that's why there are advisories, that high surf advisory in effect for every single beach in Central Florida. Also, a small craft advisory. These could be extended into the weekend, and I think they will be, because we're going to continue to deal with those issues as that big system gradually moves to the north. But it's going to take a while before it moves all the way up to New England and then eventually moving into areas like Nova Scotia. But for us, into the weekend, we will have the high rip current risk. Very dangerous out there, not advisable to get in the water at all. And then seas by Saturday close to the beach up to 9 feet, up to 10 feet just farther than that for boaters. So a dangerous setup. We're also watching behind that system the next named storm possible with a 90% chance within the next 2 days. That name would be Nigel. Now, right now, it's very close to the Cabo Verde Islands, so we have plenty of time to watch it. Now, it does look like it's going to make a turn away, just like Lee did. For us, here's a look at the pinpoint accurate forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
So today a high of 92, which is 2 degrees above the average of 90. Rain chances up to 50%, mainly after 2 p.m. as the East Coast sea breeze develops and pushes inland. So the beaches will be dry today. It's just all those issues in the water that we have to watch out for. Look at this, 3 p.m. bus stop time. We stop the clock with the future radar. You see some of those heavier downpours for Sanford on into East Orange County, including Bithlo. And then we see the West Coast sea breeze getting in on the action by 5, 6 o'clock. Some of these showers and thunder showers could linger as late as 11 o'clock, even midnight tonight, as we see that battle going back and forth with the sea breezes. Highs today along the coast, the upper 80s, inland the low 90s, but much of Central Florida feeling like the triple digits before some of that rain rolls in. And the risk of severe weather fairly low for today. It's just going to be a few of those thunderstorms. A high tomorrow of 90. Look, we're in the 80s for Saturday and for Sunday, with rain chances between 40 and 50% for the next few days. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Troy. The pink wave Mattel is seeing as a boost in sales is happening thanks to the Barbie movie.
Coming up, their plans to keep that momentum going. And the summer of labor strikes could intensify tonight. Still ahead, the demands from auto workers who say they have worked through company bankruptcies and recessions with getting nothing in return. And here's what's coming up, all new at 6.
Amid Florida's property insurance crisis, more and more Floridians are taking protecting their property into their own hands.
We are clearly seeing an uptick in self-insurance, Lewis.
The number of people self-insuring their homes is increasing every year, according to industry analysts. Do you recommend people self-insure? I'm investigator Lewis Bolden. I'm digging into the trend, all new at 6.
The live News 6 Mount Dora camera is sponsored by the City of Mount Dora, someplace special.
In the midst of a homeowner insurance crisis, many homeowners are going rogue, taking matters into their own hands. A new strategy that could reshape the way you protect your home. News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden digs into this growing trend. It's a controversial strategy that could save you money, but is it worth the risk? Discover how more Floridians are dealing with sticker shock from insurance premiums and find out if it's right for you. Tonight at 6 p.m. only on News 6.
More than 140,000 auto workers are getting ready to walk off the job. The head of the United Auto Workers Union said offers from Ford, GM, and Stellantis are not enough. Workers are demanding a 40% pay raise over 4 years, a 32-hour work week with 40 hours of pay, and a return to traditional pensions for new hires. If a strike does happen, the UAW says it won't all happen at once. It'll be strategic, hitting plants that make key components for some of the most profitable vehicles. Now, this comes as the Detroit Auto Show kicked off this week. Among the vehicles featured, Ford's new F-150. The truck has a new grille design and a tailgate that opens flat and swings sideways for easier cargo loading. The new F-150 will go on sale sometime next year with a starting price of just over $35,000.
Mattel seems to be riding high on the pink wave thanks in part to the Barbie movie. Sales of the Barbie toys in the U.S. increased 25% for the July-August combined months compared to the same 2-month time period 1 year ago. Mattel plans to stretch the Barbie movie effect into the holiday season. The Barbie movie scored the largest opening weekend of the year and is now the highest grossing movie at the box office so far this year. Well, an unusual call for help caught on camera.
The animal that gave police quite the runaround next at noon.
People sometimes aren't as sensitive. I trust Channel 6. You're the only news reporter I allowed into our home.
There's a new ship docked in Brevard. It is not picking up or dropping off passengers, though. This one serves a greater purpose. Find out how it's getting results for our waterways on the News 6 Plus Takeover today at 3:30. Well, an escapee gave police quite a workout this week.
The culprit was a ring-tailed lemur. The Springfield Police Department got a call that the furry fugitive was seen in a neighborhood park. An officer had to give him a chase. Look at him. It looks like a raccoon kind of.
Couldn't catch him
Despite
either.
the
Look at
lemur's
him.
speed, the officers refused to throw in the towel, though a towel was eventually used to help capture the pet.
He's a little faster than they are, you can tell.
He's quick. He was taken to animal control, reunited with its owner, so somebody has that as a pet.
Wow.
Can you imagine that getting loose in the house and running around?
Yeah.
Well, we are going to be pinpointing those issues at the beaches through the weekend, but we also have the sea breezes today. The East Coast sea breeze will bring in that chance for rain through the afternoon and early evening. We'll be pinpointing that. And some of these storms could linger as late as 11, even midnight tonight, a high of 92 for today. But the 80s return in time for the weekend. Expect those upper 80s Saturday and Sunday.
All righty, sounds good. Join us for more news and weather at 4 p.m. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories and podcasts on the News 6 Plus app. We leave you with a live look at the lighthouse at Palm Island Park, courtesy of the city of Mount Dora.
Love Mount Dora.